Dr. Celeste Harrington, 52, black, brilliant, and one of Boston's most respected cardiologists, had lived most of her life inside the hum of fluorescent lights and the rhythm of echoing heart monitors. For 28 years she had believed her marriage to Dr. Ethan Lowell, a white neurosurgeon adored for his charm, was built on the same precision and stability she gave her patients. But on a muted December morning, her world began to shift out of alignment. She found the email by accident, a string of midnight messages between Ethan and a new cardiology resident, Dr. Talia Brooks, 29, ambitious and stunning. The subject line, "Last night," shredded the foundations of her carefully assembled life. Celeste closed the laptop without breathing, her palms trembling as though she were witnessing her own myocardial infarction in slow motion. At the hospital, Celeste moved through the halls like a ghost. Nurses greeted her with warmth she could barely register. Her first patient of the day, a pale, middle-aged white man named Jonathan Ames, lay in the bed coughing faintly, his chart heavy with unexplained systemic inflammation. "Doctor," he whispered, "I feel like something inside me is turning against itself." She studied his eyes and felt a strange kinship. "We'll find out what's happening," she murmured. The mystery surrounding Jonathan's symptoms unsettled her. Elevated ANA levels, intermittent fevers, migrating joint pain, everything pointed to an autoimmune condition, but nothing matched perfectly. "Sometimes the body attacks itself," Celeste said softly while reviewing his labs. "Sometimes it mistakes its own organs for an enemy." The sentence tasted like confession. Later that afternoon, she walked into the physician's lounge and froze. Ethan sat beside Talia, their bodies angled too closely, their voices too soft. Celeste heard Talia whisper, "We shouldn't meet here." Ethan chuckled. "Relax, no one pays attention." Celeste felt a crack in her sternum, the metaphorical kind she warned patients about. That evening, she confronted Ethan in the kitchen. "How long?" she asked, her voice unnervingly calm. Ethan leaned against the counter, eyes refusing to meet hers. 6 months, he admitted. "It wasn't planned." She laughed bitterly. "Affairs rarely are. Heart attacks aren't planned either. Yet, here we are." Ethan tried to explain, stumbling through excuses about emotional distance, long shifts, and how Talia made him feel alive again. Celeste stared at him, as though evaluating a failing organ. "You operate on damaged brains," she said, "but somehow never bothered to examine your own." Ethan's silence confirmed the truth. Whatever they had was hemorrhaging beyond repair. The stress burrowed into Celeste's body. She developed migraines, chest tightness, and tremors so subtle she hid her hands in her coat pockets. During rounds one morning, she nearly fainted beside Jonathan's bed. He watched her with concern. "Doctor, are you okay?" She forced a smile. "Just tired. Too much caffeine." But her medical intuition whispered another diagnosis. Hers was a stress-induced autoimmune flare masquerading as professionalism. Celeste sought solace in her office, closing the blinds, sinking into her chair. She whispered a soliloquy only her stethoscope bore witness to. How can a woman who heals hearts fail to protect her own? Tears formed, but she wiped them away quickly. She had surgeries to supervise. Brokenness was a luxury she didn't have time for. Jonathan's condition worsened, and Celeste ordered a battery of advanced tests. But when she tried to access the results, the system denied authorization. Confused, she consulted IT, discovering the tests had been rerouted to the hospital's private research division, the same division Ethan oversaw part-time. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Celeste confronted Dr. Marcus Hale, the research director. "Why were my patients' labs redirected?" she demanded. Hale shifted uneasily. "Jonathan fits criteria for a trial." Ethan approved the transfer. Celeste's jaw tightened. "Without my consent, or the patient's, that's illegal." Hale lowered his gaze. "Take it up with Ethan." Ethan's office door was half open. Celeste walked in without knocking. Ethan looked up, startled. "Celeste, you stole my patient," she said coldly. "He qualifies for a study. You forged consent. You violated protocol. And you jeopardized my license." Her voice cracked into a mixture of fury and heartbreak. Their argument escalated. Ethan accused her of being too emotional lately. Celeste stepped closer, her eyes blazing. "I'm emotional because you detonated our marriage and compromised my patient. Don't confuse your guilt with my humanity." She slammed the door on her way out. Jonathan confided that Ethan had pressured him into signing papers he barely understood. He said it was routine. Jonathan whispered, "But I trust you more." Celeste felt a surge of protectiveness. She promised to fix everything, herself included. Celeste filed a formal complaint with the ethics board. It sparked immediate investigation. Ethan retaliated with coldness at home, retreating into silence and self-pity. Talia avoided eye contact entirely. The hospital became a battlefield, each corridor echoing unspoken accusations. One night Celeste broke down in her office. She pressed her hands against her temples, whispering, "I'm unraveling." She recognized the synsomatic stress disorder, early autoimmune activation, adrenal fatigue. She diagnosed herself with clinical accuracy and painful clarity. Instead of collapsing, Celeste chose survival. She began therapy, journaling, long walks by the Charles River, and meditation sessions that forced her to inhale grief and exhale rage. Slowly, the fog inside her began to thin. Her body responded, first less trembling, improved breathing, steadier focus. Work reclaimed her attention. She collaborated with rheumatology to properly diagnose Jonathan mixed connective tissue disease, complicated by environmental triggers. They stabilized him within a week. He thanked her, saying, "You saved more than my body." She realized he was right. Healing him had helped restore her sense of purpose. The ethics board concluded its investigation. Ethan was suspended for 6 months and removed from all research trials. His reputation fractured. Celeste felt no triumph, only closure. At home, she packed her things calmly. Ethan watched helplessly. "Celeste, we can fix this." She shook her head. "We fix hearts, Ethan. Not the kind you broke." Celeste bought a small apartment near the waterfront. Her mornings began with meditation, her nights with medical journals. She filled her space with plants, warmth, and silence that no longer frightened her. At work, she became a mentor to younger Black female doctors, offering the guidance she once wished she had. She built her dignity back piece by piece, like a surgeon reconstructing a wounded organ. Jonathan sent her a card after discharge. "Thank you for treating me like a human being when others saw an experiment." It reminded her that integrity was worth every battle scar. Months later, Celeste stood by her office window overlooking the city. She whispered to herself, "You survived betrayal. You survived burnout. You rebuilt your life." The soliloquy held no sorrow, now only strength. And for the first time in years, Celeste felt a steady, confident heartbeat inside her chest, her own, restored. Thanks for watching. Please like and share the story if you liked it. Stay happy, stay blessed, stay empowered, stay lovable. Bye-bye.